Welcome back.
A lot of stuff gonna be revealed.
Secret House
We're going
Against.
straight into it. I'm snacking.
Oh, you snacking? We keep it snacky. We keep it hella snacky. Yeah. Listen to that. You get ready for a journey. Put the spray paint cans in the bag. Get the fat caps and German fats and all of this. Let's put some music on. Hold on. What type of beat should I play for this? Here, I'm just gonna put on any beats. Does Controller 7 have any beats?
Like a beat tape?
Beat album? I mean, like, I know he got old beat tape albums because, I mean, like, Left-Handed Straw, I came up on that. Here we go. He got the Articulated Textiles instrumentals. We'll put those on.
That's right.
Which is a different type of vibe than what we're going to get into today with this project. But yeah, welcome back. Secret House Against, Tokyo-based hip-hop art and cultural conversations, primarily discussing the independent, avant-garde, abstract, experimental, all of the other descriptive terms for the shit that emerges from the culture. Non-reviews mostly. We mostly just take long walks off short tangents, and we don't try to get towards any type of objectivity in it. We just kind of like listen to it for what we think we feel about it. You know what I mean? And today, me and Jet, Secret House landlords, shit, man, yeah, straight to the gulag. But yeah, me and Jet here per usual. Today we're here to discuss the new Shrapknel album featuring Controller 7 on all the production. It is called Nobody Planning to Leave. It is 14 songs and 44 minutes. It is scheduled to drop on June 7th. As we record this, today is June 1st.
When you watch this, it should be June 7th.
Yeah, it should. Yeah, we're going to drop it on a release day. That's the time explosion plan. Shrapknel is Prim Rock and Curly Castro, both of the highest tier of MC stylers, longtime luminaries in the underground independent type biosphere. Nobody Planning to Leave is a new album from them. It's released on Backwoods Studios, home of some of the greatest artists of this era, and is also fully produced by Controller 7, who has been in the game for such a long time. I first was familiar with his work through the collaborations he did in the early aughts in the late 90s with the Anticon Collective. Shout out. This album features other stalwarts in the dope category, like Open Mike Eagle, Henri Osborne. We've got Lungs, Breezy Bruin, the legend, D Styles, the legend, and Elucid. All caps with spaces on that. This is the third release from the duo, and I've got a little quotation here from the Backwoods Studio joint. This is the first Shrapknel LP was Wind, a self-titled sheer force that awoke the masses to the new. The second album was Fire, forged in a metal lung, seasoned by smoke and libation alike. Shout out to Libations. The third offering is Earth, rooted in our influences, being Shrapknel's influence, from soul turned vine turned blades that scale the highest of structures. Now, Castro himself is a high-powered mutant, friend of the show. Shout out to Curly Castro. We recently had a conversation with him a few months back, perhaps at this point, and he was kind enough to toss us his album a few weeks back, so we've had a few more than a few hours to sit with it, and so this is an anti-reaction video. We're not reacting. We're in the thick of it. We're excavating. We're archaeologists for it. We're trying to figure out the history, and I'm not going to try to be crazy, but I was drunk one night with the Libations, and I was listening to Metal Lung, and I was thinking about the new Shrapknel coming out, and I text Cass, and then the next morning I was like, I was a little bit drunk, let me just run that one back, and I deleted it, and I was like, yo, hook me up with the album so we can put it out on the day that it drops, to organize the explosions or whatnot, you know what I mean? The fireworks show got to go on and whatever, and I didn't want to try to finesse his kindness, because he definitely doesn't need to give us the album, but because we're friendly. But the next day he sent it, and he didn't make any mention of the text message being deleted. So perhaps he saw it. So everything is all good to the good, and we're here to drop on release day as an anti-reaction video. We're both longtime fans of these artists, of Prim and of Castro, yes, and of Controller 7. So I think we should probably get right into the album discussion. Yeah.
Yeah.
We reviewed Shrapknel Metal Lung. We reviewed that. We also, Castro's been on a variety of releases as is Prim. We also reviewed Prim's album that he did, Occam's Blazer, which is a very kind of forward jazz hip hop album with a lot of live instrumentation. Shout out to July Scone, incredible drummer, and and there's hints of that a little bit on this.
You're seeing, this is one of those things where I don't really want to spend too much time comparing this to Metal Lung, because we both really love that album.
I haven't watched that review.
But, I watched it before the Castro conversation, just because I wanted to see what I said then and kind of refresh my memory on it. But I definitely see the Fire and Earth comparison. Like, this album is earthier. It feels a little more naturalistic. It isn't quite as hard-edged as Metal Lung is in places, but at the same time, there's a finesse,
there's more of
and
an organic
earthy kind of
tone to this,
tone
actually.
to it. And it's also really good to see all these features on here as well. There's some really big names on here. There's also some smaller names on here, but it feels very complete as a work. Everything feels so intended on this record, whether that's down to the minutia of the verses or Controller 7 and the production choices that were made on here, and the selection of features on here. I wish Alaska had been on it, but there's is like a really
Alaska's got his project coming out later this year, which we're going to review with Dash Gardner. Alaska gave us he's given us that album, and he gave me permission to send it to Dash, who's one of the best writers that come out of Pitchfork and one of the best writers in general. So keep an eye out for that. That drops in. I'm not sure if I'm going to tell y'all when. I'm not sure if that's known, but that will come to you on time. Perfectly timed explosions.
Yeah,
Atomic
I don't know.
Clock
This
timing.
this does feel new and interesting, but it also does kind of feel like, what if co-flow was a thing in 2024?
Yeah, I like that comparison actually a lot. And maybe I'll make points about that in a little bit. But yeah, my overall thoughts on this album is it is incredible. It's shot to the top of my favorite albums of the year list, and I say that in the most honest seriousness, despite our relationship with these call out culture cats. I just, Shrapknel is such a perfect name for this crew, because every moment on this album is full of explosions of callbacks, references, interpolations of culture, primarily of hip hop, but also popular culture, Lord of the Rings, but it is also just wildly historically generated. There's a point on this album in the first song and the last to kind of sum up my ideas and thoughts on the execution and how I personally received it. The first thing said by any MC on the album is know what I mean, and that's AJ Suede. And then the album explodes in all the different type of intervals. But to me, that's a major key. It's almost like a disclaimer, but like a warning. It's a challenge. You're going to get this work, and then they proceed to unapologetically bomb you, not giving you clear-cut ideas of what the tracks are or anything. It's all fat caps and throw-ups and wild-style burners that are all city. It's fucking halos and 90s and windmills and flares and air tracks. But it's asking you kind of do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Understand the art here. And then on the last track, Worry Doll, Castro says, Loon TNS wore my anthem on campus, while every other dorm blasts a unit with boot camp. The higher learning turned N&M burning. And I'm not trying to give you a quiz on it or anything but do you understand those references?
Nope.
Okay, and that's a big part of the album.
This also relates to I was thinking about this when I was listening to this, I was thinking about the cast conversation that we had, because I didn't talk much in that conversation, because we also reached a point where the two of you were just kind of reminiscing and waxing lyrical about hip hop and the broader idea of hip hop outside of
we both
rapping
b-boy
and
sapiens.
Beats.
We both
b-boys and comic book nerds as well. Those things were all happening, and I was kind of I actually don't really need to partake in this. I can just disengage and enjoy the conversation a little bit. Obviously,
and that's the thing about the music too. Despite all of the references and deeper thoughts and the connections that are there,
deeply enjoyable.
It's just musically, sonically, it's impressive.
That set of lyrics you just put there, I just enjoyed enjoyed the stacking, and I just enjoyed it on an aesthetic level. And that's something that you can do with this record too. And I think Controller 7 provides like a really great backdrop to it, and also shows off like his flexibility as a producer, because he's someone who's been active for a very long time. But if you contrast this to the Video Dave that came out last year,
sonically they're
an entirely different record. That's what we've got the instrumentals for that.
The Video Dave? No, it's not. I switched to another. I switched to another
else.
Controller 7 album, but yeah.
But there is the ability of all of these guys to show off their agility on this record, in terms of just like Controller 7 is exploring like a whole different set of sounds that doesn't sound like stuff that he's been putting out recently. And then even like Castro sounds a little different on this record. I've given this a lot of thought because of the conversation we had about it. I'd mentioned in the review I didn't like his voice, and he called me up on that when we talked about it in the conversation. And
that's a bit overblown too.
No, it wasn't like I don't
like his voice.
It wasn't like beef or anything. Like it's mad love, but like
it was kind of like an impediment to you fully enjoying it.
It was like one aesthetic quality of the record I didn't really care for. But I also feel like on here he's maybe dialed back the aggression a tiny bit, and that he's kind of like styling a bit more. Like maybe that could just be me, because I've just like come to appreciate Castro a lot more since we did that review a year or two ago. And Secret House has also come some way since that review. Like we're a very different channel to then.
I think the critique formula has kind of changed a little bit.
You've changed
in a lot of ways, especially since we don't have Spade on anymore. We can kind of focus on doing critiques that are a bit more broad than just pinning it down to like eminent
aesthetic
or
qualities.
New historicism or some shit. But like one of the things about me for this album, and because I am, I like to think of myself. And this is just all anecdotal really, but also kind of has this historical underpinnings. Like I'm 41 years old and I graduated high school in 2001. And when I got into hip hop culture, I'm like 12 years old. Mid-90s, I'm going to B-Boy Summit. I'm going to Freestyle Session. I'm going to all of the jams that were all 4-element hip hop jams. And I like ideologically, there was this kind of keep it real era that was emerging during the kind of transition of the Telecommunications Act, where like unforeseen to even the futurists at the time would have profound effects on the nature of music, and particularly the nature of media, news media, and rap music. And so we found ourselves transitioning away from that towards more of a kind of neoliberal approach of like, let's make money, let's be capitalist, even though there was a sharp kind of separation between the mainstream and the underground. And with lines like Castro talking about people were in a boot camp and he was in the Loon TNS, like that's Company Flow, that's Big Just, that's like one of the songs on there. And I think that I'm not saying that I am, it just speaks to me in a way that I think that you didn't have to be there because the music is also good, but it speaks to me to a way, and I'm not saying I'm the target demographic, but at the end of the day, it's just kind of like a kindred element to me. A lot of this album to me does feel like the most fun Crusher-esque woe to thee, he whose king is
yes,
a, you know what I mean? Like this is some of the most like B-boy stance shit that I've heard in a long time. And it's Cass and Prim's lyrics and the historical elements that they add to it, especially Cass with some of the references that he plays from. But also it's just like, in mainstream underground hip hop these days, there's a lot of tropes that are occurring that are just like minimal drumless loops and things that are fly and incredibly dope. But this shit has like, like this is above a lot of the 90 BPM shit. This shit is kind of belligerent. This is the bizarro world where, Shrapknel is a new pop sensation. This meets so many different criterias about hip hop culture. Like I was talking about it on the last Zilla Rocka and Chong Wizard album. Like where are the B-boy joints? Like, of course, Mike is incredible and Earl's incredible, but they don't come from the same part of the culture that incorporated the turntablism. They don't come from the same part of the culture that incorporated the graffiti, that incorporated the B-boys. And some of these tracks on this shit put me in my B-boy kind of mentality where I'm getting ready to sneak out of my window with paint, or I'm at fucking school and just writing on everything, or it saw Black Book explosions for me in a lot of ways, and it really speaks to that like I hate the terms that we use like conscious rap or purity or golden era, but it speaks to this kind of through line, this historical through line of ethics and approaches, but also in hip-hop, but also advances them in a way that does not make them sound derivative, overly romantic or nostalgic for those sounds. It doesn't lean into trying to be Company Flow-esque, but it ends up being Company Flow-esque because it kind of gives you the same sensation that you would have when you heard Company Flow. This is new, this is different, this is like, how are they doing that shit? Like, what is this production on this shit? And also, like, it's just phenomenal. We've got two wildly different MCs on this album, and both of them are, like I said earlier, of the highest tier of approaches. They're unique, singular stylers that I don't think you could say, oh, like he does things like this person or does like even amongst their contemporaries. Cass don't sound like Woods or Elucid or Zilla or Prim or nobody. You know how they say that like Black Thought's, like a lot of his newer work is highly full of references, right? Castro is on another planet with that shit. Castro is like a dope culture zeitgeist codex, some Ram LZ mythological system.
Ram LZ is a good pull. That's a really good pull.
He's like a history book that tries to cram everything into it, and everything is trying to communicate. The way that he just puts these ideas together, but they're so unglued from the obligation of explaining it to you. It's like, if you ain't hip on this shit, then sucks for you, but you might catch a reference. Like, some of them are easy, like Gimli, battles the orcs because he's married to a battle. Like, you get that shit. But some of the other lines, even the pop cultural ones, like one day it all makes sense, no ID to Lonnie, like that's obviously a common bar. But there's a lot of things on here that I'm like, I feel like I know what he's getting at, but what the fuck is this? And that's one of the dope things is about the Castro's on. If you listen to the Call Out Culture podcast, one of the things that Castro consistently does is always he has like a deeper historical understanding, like fact about something happened, like that Blaze battle, like the Blaze magazine. He's like, they only ran for like a year. It's like, I didn't fucking know that, but Castro is like a historian that don't want to teach you the history. He's like a historian that's just like, check how now explodes because of the past. I'm gonna put you on to that, and it's incredible. And then when you listen to Prim go off, I used to say, like, my early thoughts on Prim, and it's not just because he's a white dude, right? But it maybe added to that. But I found that a lot of the approaches and a lot of things that he was doing reminded me of Aesop Rock in a flattering way, not in a way like he bite in, not in a way even like Ghostface, like Action Bronson sounds similar to Ghostface, not even like that. But he sounded like a fan of Aesop's approach in what Aesop was expanding, and he didn't want to ape the style, but he kind of noticed a scheme or approach there, and he incorporated into that shit. And I think that he's kind of refined that to be so far beyond comparison with Ace now.
I think also I really enjoy the contrast between the two MCs on it, because like Castro has it's almost like order and chaos between the two of them, right? Castro, he's like he's styling, he's all over the place sonically, referentially, he's got an aggression in his delivery. Prem is very meticulous, he's very like fine kind of tooth comb-ish with the lyrics, and they play off of each other so nicely on this record and on Metal Lung. And then also just, being able to have like Open Mike Eagle, Henri Osborne, Lungs, D Styles, Elucid, like coming on here and also providing their own kind of lenses on that, I think even further like heightens the experience of listening to these two MCs.
I really do like their contrast as MCs in style and approach, but also like tonally they sound very different, and they kind of like bring different things to tracks. And some of my favorite moments on this album are the moments where it's like them, but then there's a beat switch and something kind of changes up. The kind of abstract, like the comparison that I make to Ace with Prim was kind of like his vocab, extremely high vocabulary, and there's an abstract, a poetic approach to his bars that is like old Aesop Rock's long form philosophical run on insight flips that he used to have, where Prim now he'll take like a common turn of phrase and connects it to like another turn of phrase to give it a new meaning. It's almost like mixing metaphors, but not in a way that's like that's the wrong way to describe something. The way that he mixes these things are kind of just like, oh shit. like how did you do that? It's like a run-on sentence style is mind-blowing. Like the first verse on Metallo. Hold on. Can I play it?
Yeah,
Can I do it? Like yeah, it's coming out the day it drops, so it's not egregious for me to fucking be like that. But all right, first off, but the first verse, right? He hits you with like a few regular bars, like timing wise, like bury the dead, carry the dread, might be you, might sneak through. And then I don't understand how he's counting. I don't understand how he's putting together. Like, how, my nigga, like, excuse me, Prim. Like, how though? Listen to me when I tell you that, like, a lot of rappers rap like the way that they count. Yes. And most niggas is doing addition. Like triplets, that's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But when you listen to Prim, it's like, what is this? We know that genius is high level math and shit, but it's like counting syllables, but it's also like these inter rhymes that seem to work out. For heads to get the context, like you can check out the formula and get the math, and it's odd, ridiculous, but it's like,
nearest threat. Yeah, it might be you. See cleanse how I might sneak through. 18-wheeler review maneuver like a tear to dead. Strong from spite, ice cold, burning instead. Wrong or right, nice roll, fair price for the toll. You learn from this mess. Fuck it, we ball. Contract dispute, Keyshawn, turn on the Jets. 1,000 yards.
How, bro? What is that?
Yeah,
it went bop, 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 da 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 da. Like, I mean, I know that he's on beat too, because where he lands, it finally lands. But that sentence is like, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's fucking cymatics, bro. It's like,
but it's like, also like, it's like, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like,
I had a bar right there. Actually.
Oh, yeah, hit it.
No, it's like cymatics. It's like you take fucking a vibrating frequency through fine sound, and then it creates a wild geographic form, like a geometric structure.
Yeah.
A geometric structure, and that shit is amazing. There's a really dope element to that with Prim, and that on top of the kind of explosive, like historical pulls, like.
Panties on my face, it shows bitches acting strong. Mississippi bullet on sight, hell it's my Monte. Pharaoh with my rules, slick Ricky in the
Pharaoh with my root.
I gotta give props to Controller 7 for what he's doing here, because before that beat switch, before the drums come in, you have like this very kind of naturalistic sounding, like tubular bell kind of formation, dun, 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 dun. This little like arpeggio. But then the bass line underneath it is like super angular, like synthesizers. And you have this kind of contrast like baked into the music between the very like organic and then the, angular, meticulous, hard edge, robotic, the metal of the metal lung, the shrapnel, right? And then the drums come in and Castro comes in and you get that fury, you get that fire coming in as well. And like, I just, I got to give Controller 7 his flowers on this record. I mean, he does this on every track.
I was telling people that was like, I'm not sure who producer of the year is right now. And I was like, I'm feeling Controller 7 right now. Like, it's only one album, but I was like, I'm feeling Controller 7 right now. Like, this project, the production on this project is so incredible. Like, hold on. I know I got some fucking notes about the production, right?
Yeah, hit it.
Like, Controller 7, like the work on this is a beat of his as well in the background. This ain't how fucking Shrapknel sounds. Not at all. This is like two different producers, right? It's so wide and varied, and it's just so different from even that Video Dave sonic palette. His drums are fucking bombing. He has fucking drums on this. The little elements he adds to songs, like the panning or little media samples, or I love all my minimal drumless loops and shit like that. But these are like, some of these are like straight up b-boy joints. So we need more joints for the b-boys. Like, they got D Styles on this to complement the production, and it's just like they got him and just like, cut this motherfucker up with the finest highest level of fucking turntablism type of shit, right? We need more of that. And the compositions, bro, the changes, the beat switches, the overall sequencing of the album flows so well. There's never a boring moment. It doesn't sound like anything else, but it's like all in tradition or in lineage or in homage. He pulls in all of these other elements that kind of remind you of something, but it's not. It's new. It's like it's hauntological in that way. It pulls from the past, but it sounds unstuck in time. He didn't try to do any pop sensibility type of shits on this either. Like, this is all the underground sound stigma. This is just loud and mixed well. Like, the production on this album is what allowed Prim and Castro to create something that sounds different from anything else in their catalog, and it's a fucking tremendous accomplishment. It's fucking wilding. Like, they're guys that consistently put out dope shit, but this one is just like, this is different dope shit than you guys usually do. Like, this is, and that's one of the things I like about all of these artists. Like, you can see that they're still refining things about the craft and their style. And every time you listen to them, you feel as though there's improvements. Like, they almost haven't hit their peak yet. Like, they haven't hit their prime as a fighter. Like, they're still fucking getting that shit out. And man, I fucking... so many of these songs. I'm gonna just start going. I'm gonna put the beats on the background,
let's go
and we'll just start going.
Yeah.
We'll just start going. Hold on. Let me.
A lot.
I love this intro too. Hold
Intro
on.
here.
Yeah, hold on. Let me bring it. Wait, let me see. Second track here. Dadaism 3 featuring Open Mike Eagle.
I
right?
think those numbers are just like the take number. I don't think those are the actual, because they all have like a 2 or a 3 at the end on the
Oh, word?
on the Google Drive
Most
link
of
we were sent.
most of mine didn't. Okay. Yeah, Dadaism then. I thought maybe but yeah, this beat is like a fucking funhouse mirror.
Peace, star child of Dr. I'm here. Smoke too much, confused.
And like some of the like Castro is putting down like some shit that is like hella hip hop references. Every single song is jam packed with these hip hop references that like possibly are like triple entendres in meaning of things. Like, broke you out the orphanage, illogic out the atmosphere. Orphanage, hip hop heads will know who the orphanage is. Illogic out the atmosphere with Slug, and I mean, like, yo, like, don't make moves out of fear or leave Doom without a beer. Leave Doom without a beer, but also leave Doom without, like, suffer. Or your Suffer Murphy's Law and Axel Foley will appear. And then he also ended with some comic book shit. Iska the Unbeaten been chosen to cipher punishment. I know you don't know Iska the Unbeaten, but if you were reading the Hickman run, the new X-Men shit, y'all definitely be familiar, man. Her mutant power is that she cannot lose. She cannot lose, bro, at anything.
Shouts out to Marrow.
Okay. Shout out to the bony protrusions. You know what I mean? But like, also like, Prim is fucking wilding on this shit verse, right? Read between the seams or think embroidery. You're annoying me. Adjust the gaze, fit the glare. I'm here splitting hairs slowly and steady on my tortoise speed. This is what I'm talking about, how he takes like these kind of like poetic things, like between the lines, between the seams, but think embroidery. You know, adjust the glare, fix the glare, adjust the glare, like splitting hairs, right? Like a rabbit.
Yes.
But slow on his tortoise speed. This fool is going off, bro. Like, every single verse on this album makes you feel like, oh, I don't get it. Maybe I got it. Maybe I'm gonna get it later. You know what I mean? Maybe later you'll figure out. And that's one of the joys about the album to me, and it speaks to my sensibilities a lot in terms of hip hop. But I know a lot of even younger listeners who are not familiar with things are going to get a lot of references too that maybe I'm missing because I'm not. You know, you're not familiar with X-Men. That's not an old historical joint.
No.
He just pulls it in. And also, I love this. Like, Open Mike Eagle's got a few different pockets that he goes to sometimes, right? And he's ill at all of them. But this is the Open Mike Eagle rapping style that always feels kind of like suffering a little bit, like in the fucking, what is the never-ending story, Swamp of Sorrow or whatever. It sounded like that shit. He's just like in there like, help nigga, like, but it's dope. But he says, just peep the words of my agnostic prayers, wishing these niggas off my Oscar Mayer, off my hot dog,
Off the
like,
wiener, like,
yeah, bro, it's fucking fire.
Dirty Disney. I be pretending I never heard of Biggie. I'm full of humanity like the furtive pig.
This fucking beat is so like Funhouse mirror to me. And like there's also a few moments on this album that like there's two songs, right? There's the Bogdan interlude, and then there's what is the other one with just Prim, Human Form.
Yeah.
And it's like those also break up the album very well, because there's like the back end there's like the duo of them, then there's the duo with the feature, and then there's the solo joints with them. They just make the album feel like mad cohesive and mad dope. Like,
just peep the words of my agnostic prayer, wishing these ninjas above my Oscar Mayer.
you know me, Jet. You're talking to B-Boy Omega Legs. Born B-Boy 1994. B-Boy
What happened when you
Omega
taught your
Legs.
daughter's class last week, Mega?
Oh, that shit was ill. But maybe that's one of the reasons my hip was fucked up, bro. I was putting them little kids on it, man. My wife teaches breaking, right? And my daughter also goes to that breaking class. But my wife had a medical emergency and
Don't look around, Dave Mason's
B-boy shit.
She's
But I had
good
to go. Yeah, she all good. But I had to teach, and then I was fucked up for a couple days, like a week later. But it could be connected. I mean, I'm 67 years old in b-boy years. But
That's a new Mega Bingo
Yeah.
card one.
yeah. But this is some b-boy shit. Like, this is that Megaton b-boy shit. This is like a noose made for you out of fat laces.
When it traded for a fleece in the cold prim and I two-headed Cerberus killer show. Up here, Master Ace and Wordsworth.
Yeah. And then the beats. Oh, all right, hold on. Front row, arms folded, megala on down.
You know Irv?
Yeah. Open portal on stage. Press these clips round. This is a b-boy cut. You know
This is
what I mean?
absolutely a b-boy cut. Yeah, I mean that break. I almost expect to hear like a beep, like, you know, that hit, you know, beep, like over the top of it. That's kind of what the sample. Which
But
I
what's
think
crazy
is a
is,
backwards
like-
guitar chord. I don't know, but like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is peep the dichotomy. You know what I mean? Like the beat switch when Prim comes on, it immediately switches to some shit that could have Prim in like a smoking
Right.
jacket next to
Like
a
a
fireplace,
dark
and like a
room,
high
like
back chair that's just like bombing. Crack the codex like a soothsayer. Here we go.
Walking razor. Here's your azaleas while they're there to save her. The
Prim need a monocle for this shit on his third eye.
reason why we never really need a savior. Sometimes you draw dead and draft failure. The math fails you.
So fucking raw. And he ended the verse with I know no illness can slow the blade of a determined razor. It's fucking crazy. Steel Pan Labyrinth with Henri Osborne. Shout out. We reviewed Black
up,
Beach
yep.
Boy last year. One of our favorites. Truly incredible. A real OG, a real legend, a real person putting it down for hip hop culture. Uncompromised in sound and just fucking flexing. He's dope as fuck on that shit. The beats sound like fucking industrial robot factory building
yeah.
your fucking demise. And then shout out to Lungs. Lone Sword is fucking fire.
we
That's
love
on
Lungs
this shit
here. We
too.
love Lungs.
Man, the beat switch for Henri is so fucking ill. Another beat switch comes on for Lungs, and it sounds like some frightening shit coming in, like with weird little tricks to the production to add to it, like record back spins and short horn stabs and fucking violin pulls. It's wild. It's incredible. And then, can I? Are we just freaking it? Are we just freaking it today? Is that what we're doing?
yeah, it looks like we're just freaking it. We're like 30 minutes in.
I don't care.
All right, yeah,
We were drinking, so I'm a little bit wild and reckless. This is the closest y'all gonna get to like regular Mega on the street in Tokyo type of vibes. You know what I mean? Because this is my energy. I'm a wrestler promo speaking type of human being, loud, obnoxious, and also, you know, solitary in my.
You cook, I'm gonna eat snacks. I feel like people don't see this version of Secret House that often. But this
No.
This is our friendship right here.
Yeah, this is pretty much how we live it and rock with it. We having a good time because it's a Saturday night and we're drinking. We usually don't do this.
Beautiful day as well.
You know what I
It's a
mean?
nice Saturday,
Yeah.
and summer is about to come, but it's not like oppressively hot yet.
But listen to this, like
It's sort of like survival.
this beat switch reminds me of something specific in particular, but I can't place the song that I'm thinking of. But specific in particular.
Hustle up on my coffee table. Them things you can't, I'm able to do. Easy, trust me. Turtleneck, I'm C3.
Shout out to Henry Osborne, bro. His shit is fucking fire on this shit.
All bad blood out, oh joy. I'm nice, you're
Listen to, I mean, the production.
Bespoke wheel gaining traction, handcrafted.
This is where the robots start to beat your ass.
But a package, a price depending on who's asking. To the ones falling in action, lack of a better reenactment. Let's see what fits.
And then peep game.
This ain't nothing but a family. No sir.
Lungs. People review of fucking what is it? Another Planet 4. What is it? Another Planet 4? What is this shit?
Another Planet 4, yeah.
That made Jess album of the year list.
Silent, gritty, silent, pity pollen. Shorty brought the crab legs home from City Island. Plug in a church basement with no service worship and hidden deed.
And this shit, I was like, yo, is this an Occam's Blazer joint? Because the jazz production on this, if this is just Controller 7, bro, listen to the drums. Listen to it sounds like a jazz band. And this is a human form. This is the only joint. This is the joint that only has prim on it, but it's like the drums are incredible. It sounds like a full jazz band.
Smoke it if you got it. Where's the loyalty, be honest? Bashing into the coffin. You made a mighty fine target for even the most nearsighted of marksmen. Read the tune like the...
Or even the most nearsighted of marksmen.
Some solid threat of a promise. Eye contact, don't dodge it. Self-reported dog and waterboarding arc with logic on and off the top.
Tell me about these drums.
Slow to profit. This raw imply honest. I'd admit I'm catatonic. Chart the pattern of vomit. Silent in the style of Vonnegut.
I'm telling you, this speaks to my personage, my b-boy sensibilities. Like, this is the album that I threw on the headphones when I'm going outside to destroy fucking municipal property. It make me want to start writing again, bro.
Like
it make me want to
culture jamming in album
format.
I'm
gonna steal a Tupac shirt from Walmart. All of them. They'll let you get away with it for a couple times until you got enough on you. So you just gotta hit the different Walmarts. You know what I mean? Secret House is
all
not.
visas are tied to this shit, though.
Yeah, Secret House does not support theft of private property.
We kind of.
Yo, you heard Shibuya? They not gonna allow drinking on the streets anymore at nighttime, yeah?
No, I didn't know that.
All year round. But anyways, yeah, we out here. Fucking Nutcracker Blues features the indelible, the incredible Breezely Brewing, and also fucking the incredible, indelible D Styles. And this joint is like, I think like. Some of the songs are thematic and they seem to have concepts or themes. It's hard to unpackage them because they're not creative writer MCs where it's like, this song is about my dad, and everything is talking about dads. But on Nutcracker Blues, it kind of feels like they're going towards like a nostalgia or like a recognition of the days of old. And Castro's verse on that shit is actually maybe my favorite Castro verse on the album from him. And the beat is just like.
Then you're enthused about it.
Yes, I'm fascinated.
This joint is amazing. Breezely Brewing is fucking. We're talking about 30 years of just being the best MC on the planet type of shit. Y'all know he's one of my dark horse picks. I got 3 dark horse picks that I've been talking about since I started this channel as being my favorites. Riff Napalm, who goes by Still Napalm now, who's going to be coming out on the Open Mike Eagle video. Dave, what is it called?
Previous Industries.
Previous Industries. I've been rocking with Still Riff since I heard him on the Mestizo album on Galapagos 4. It's Cavalier, who finally got another album out that we just talked about. Go check that, do the knowledge, do all of that. And then it's Breeze. Those are my 3 dark horse. Like, y'all might not know these cats, but they're better than all your favorite MCs type of shit. And Breeze is just so nice and eloquent on this, man. It's like he's the rose, like with the thorns. It's just so fucking nice.
Trump the current meaning of a red cat.
Like I said, the young youth, they need somebody that's there that they will listen to.
Yeah.
Try to dream, get it in your soul on some, gotta get the devil in his hole, like the Wire theme.
Like the Wire theme, bro. And then another B-boy cut, or I'll call it a B-boy cut. Deep Space 9 Milli pulled a pistol.
What's this? What?
in your pocket that bulge.
You telling me we not fantastic damage? You telling me we not fun crushing? We not megaton b-boys on here? We not exploding in intervals?
None of your business, Gene.
I love this vocals. I like this media sample too.
I want to know about the.
I don't know where it's from, but it sounds crazy.
What's this? What? In your pocket.
It sounds like Crazy Boss.
Stay out of my pocket.
It feels like.
Is it? I mean, I have no idea, but.
Oh, I can feel it's metal. Let me see it.
It's none of your business, Gene.
Let me see the.
Listen to that beat.
I want to see if it's been fired.
This make me walk different.
I told you to mind.
I only 6-step to this.
Got myself a shiny new chrome, wanna touch my skin, but this flesh not yours to hold.
And the beat is so fucking hard, but when Castro comes in, it sounds like he turned on a tornado generator. Like the shit start winding up and getting really crazy. And obviously the title of the track is an LP throwback, and the song is packed with a lot of those references, but there seems to be a larger message that's here, and I think maybe that's also part of the stories that Castro tells at the end of the track, which he tells two stories about kind of gun violence or guns that are both really good, and that kind of like contrast with like P. Castro come in.
And that's my rule of thumb. At night, I cover my.
All right. So we know like Bad Touch Example, like that's part of the chorus that comes in this, right? But it's also Deep Space Nine. Like the chorus is crazy, but watch when.
This is a style for a title that sounds silly, but nothing kill you if you don't keep head on the swivel. Keep the name.
Yo, Dorothy is wilding in a house in the middle of the sky right now. Like this shit is spinning. This is a whirling dervish. You don't know where you land. Like it's incredible.
Used to be free Shaheem, old alias Obi-Wan and only. We be foolish burnt CDs sold out vinyl. Stingy spinners and they white labels like Bibles. Comic View Saturday night revival. Laughing till you split sides over title. The other day Hunting Hayes found a gun seller.
I'm not sure exactly what they're getting at on a lot of these things, but one of the things I like about it is like this rewards multiple listens.
Yes, absolutely.
But the contrast to this beat to Castro telling these stories at the end here, and I'm gonna talk over it so you guys don't get it because I think it's a really special and interesting moment. But the contrast of that beat versus this is one of my favorite moments on the album. It's like you go through this tumultuous, kind of crazy, wild experience on this song about guns, and then it kind of just like sombers down, and the reality of that type of thing kind of touches for you. This is one of my favorite tracks on the album, and it's fucking like it's amazing. And then the next joint, Jet. This is your dream job?
No.
This is your dream job? Isn't that's the cat that fucking helps assist with the seppuku, right?
Yeah, so when I kill myself next year, like Mega
We're
here,
joking about it,
Mega
but it's
here
terrible.
Is the one who's going to behead me.
Yeah, that's me.
You know, when I impale myself on maybe in like the Metropolitan Government building in Shinjuku, like
it all depends if we get the LDP out of office this year. We're working hard for it. But yeah, Tokyo politics. But no, like when you commit seppuku, the dude the person that cuts off your head,
Kaishakunin.
Yeah, that's the executioner. That's it. And the horns and the beat build on this album are just so incredible. And even AJ Suede creeps in with another vocal contribution, not uncredited vocal contribution, but man, AJ Suede got such a fucking ill voice,
Suede,
bro. And this prim verse on this track is maybe my favorite verse from him on the album. Upon my first, I probably listened to the album like 7, 8 times, 10 times, but so far, like this prim verse here is just amazing. I see the tanning of hides, but no planting the seeds. You can't damage the tide. Bandages on your feet. It's amazing, this album. So many layers. It rewards multiple listens. This is the type of art that I just like figure it out. This is not disposable, your everyday McDonald's fucking fast food service shit. Like this is something else.
Burst in the flame, like the first of their name. Aftershock.
Yeah, but like, all right, I'm gonna keep it moving because we've been going on for about an hour or maybe almost close. 8-finger piano with D Styles. This track is so dope, and at the end of it, you get like 30 seconds of D Styles just fucking D-styling. And I love that. Where's the turn? You know, that's one of the things I love about A$AP Rock is that despite his music having a lot of things that are like more towards using like guitar stems and samples like that, A$AP Rock is always putting it down for hip hop culture by incorporating turntablism, incorporating the discussion of graffiti, and a lot of kids like I'm the last generation of 4 Element kids basically. It died when I graduated high school, and it went to backpackers. And backpackers got corny. Backpackers we used to only carry backpacks because we had trees in it and brass knuckles and maybe a burner and our black books and tapes. And now backpackers are like, yeah, listen to Little Brother. Shout out to Little Brother, but I mean, come on. It's a different thing, man. It's a different thing. It's a different type of time. Yo, all right. Uru metal, which is the same shit that Thor's hammer's made out of. I gotta say that this reminds me of Tragedy of War in 3 parts, the Company Flow track, right? Yeah. And I'm not sure why, but my mind immediately went to that after I heard it. There's like 3 parts, and Elucid's beat is so menacing with the and then the drums come in and it's like, ooh, time for the quickening. People might have to go out.
It's practice, gauntlets of hackers, fizz face, spotting all you bad actors, attaching yourself to a god who requires more sacrifice than you're prepared to give. Get ready.
And the second beat is like, wow. Prim, the way he opens that verse, he says, Baphomet goaded on a star which exploded, waiting for my man, head full of Gregorian chants. And I think there's also a Woods kind of joining here. The dude that comes in and says, better than you than me, brother. I think that might be Woods.
That might be Woods.
But 3 movements on this. There's so much packed into 44 minutes of music here. And then that harsh echo before Castro fucking begins exploding on the shit. The Weight Indelible. Indelible MC's the song Weight. Do you guys know that? Figure it out. And Shrap is here to sharp the blade. De La Soul gets decoded and you find the answer. And then he do another comic book shit. Lobo, Deep Space. Sometimes you catch me fragging. If this is not my album of the year, it's top 3 easy. Easy.
There's some good competition for it this year, like over the last month or so.
I mean, the Makami is good too, but like I was telling folks,
the
I was
Makami
like,
and the Cavalier. I mean,
I was like,
those,
to me, the Mach just doesn't have the same quality. The Cav is special, bro. I think everybody that listens to it will say it's special, but this shit is also doing something different for me. It speaks to me in a different way than the Cav album did. This album, the Cav made me feel like, yeah, fucking yeah, hip hop shit. Like I recognize that, I know that, but this album made me. If you could make me, as a 41-year-old man who stopped breaking at 22, if you could make me walk down the street with the same feeling of like getting up and bombing graffiti and breaking, you've done something special. There's not much music that does that. That's why I said this album reminds me of a Fun Crush moment for me.
Yep.
And I think maybe perhaps the greatest song of all time.
Yeah, I'll allow you go crack.
Sarate.
Sarate.
So I want everybody out here.
Yo, Castro is a fucking fool for this shit. This might be Castro should just come out with like an R&B type of album, bro. Because Castro is such. I'm not going to talk much about that one because I want to save that one. I think that one's a wonderful surprise for you.
I'm just imagining some like real like I don't know laid back Jodeci type beat, and then Castro just being like, I'm rapping on this, like just being kind of aggro, but yeah,
bro,
maybe that's a good time.
Sarate, I'm gonna learn all the lyrics for that song so I could just sing it on my day-to-day living life because that one is something special.
Oh, your poor wife.
Yeah. Oh, my wife already hates me, so we good. Illusions of P, and I think this is like the rollout single.
Yeah.
Did they come up with a video for this? Not yet, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, but it's a part of like the kind of like, what do they call it when it's like a bunch of the songs put together, like the
the teaser.
The teaser, yeah. Yo, this beat is fucking yuck. It's fucking muck. It's dirty from the dump. Suck dump truck. Nasty.
Hey.
Yo, Castro says heavy-handed hologram. This nigga Castro is fucking magnificent, bro. Follow Puffy off a cliff.
Hey,
he's fucking magnificent, man. All right, we've been talking for a long time. I really would like to. I like that we went off for a long time because I want to.
I mean,
like,
we've got one
emphasize
track
my.
left now, so I feel like you might as well close off. Like, what do you think of Worry Doll?
It's aight. Nah, it's aight. Now that has a line that I really think kind of ties the whole thing together for me in regards to like what thematically the album did for me. Like I'm not a bar whisperer. I'm not a person that pretends like I understand everything that's going on. I don't listen to Billy Woods and be like I get it, or I don't listen to Aesop and be like I get it. There's things that I glean, and a lot of those things are completely subjective, based upon my own fucking meta narratives that I develop. But what he says on the end of Worry Doll, what Castro says on the end of the Worry Doll track is something that kind of makes me feel as though I've got a hold of a major key of what I think that they're trying to do on this. And it's like, here goes some uncanny dopeness for a lot of people who might not recognize where it comes from. And we didn't sacrifice anything, but we also built upon the same shoulders of the giants that we appreciate. And the shit that we're doing is also doper than them and also as dope as them. And that's what you're supposed to do when you're on this level. And if anything you should get from this album, it should be the fact that if too much of it is over your head, perhaps you need to go back and do a little bit of like learning about the culture. When I was growing up, like I wasn't listening to hip hop like that. I mean, my sister and her boyfriends and my brother-in-laws and shit, they was playing Rakim, but I actually had to go back and do the knowledge and check out those albums and where this thing comes from, where this music comes from. There's a distinct lineage. Like Billy Woods is not the first person to be a Billy Woods type of amazing human being. There's a rich lineage, and it even comes from the West Coast and a lot of these styles and approaches. And once you're able to tap into that and you have those ethics and you have that foundation under you, you could break any rule you want and it's going to be fucking ill. And that's what this Shrapknel album is. This album is completely full of homage and the tradition and the ethics and the ideas, but it also fucking subverts that and sublimates a lot of that shit and puts you in a completely different place. Like, this album is entirely you can't think outside of it. This is like now. It's like it's past, present, and future here. Like, this is something going on here historically, presently, and also projecting into future. I love this album. Fucking, we don't rate albums here in terms of numerical values, but this is an album that I would recommend to somebody who feels as though that they like shit this dope like I like shit. If you listen to the show and you ever listen to me be like, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, this is one of those. I cannot emphasize it enough. I fucking love this album.
Yeah, we have it. Like, comment, subscribe. Or don't. We don't care. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, we absolutely don't. If you give us more Patreon money, we're just going to buy more albums from the people that we appreciate.
And
unfortunately, that's the fucking vibe.
It's a problem of youth. It's a problem for everyone.
It's a problem for everyone.
Secret house.
Of values.
Yo, Castro, when we had a conversation with him, he was like, yo, just fucking read. Read anything. Read comic books. Shout out to the Call Out Culture. Shout out to Noname Book Club. Shout out to Caltrops Press. Shout out to the Rap Music Plug podcast. The listening party is got to be phenomenal. We'll be there for that. Shout out to the Sonic Cloth. Shout out to Extraordinary Rap Podcast. Shout out to Radical Paper Press. Shout out to all of the peoples that are mentioned on this album who are dope. You don't have to go listen to the new Common. You don't have to go listen to new Eminem. Just you know what I mean? Put this in, and you don't even have to go to summer school. You get all the education you need. Secret House.
Hey.
What do you say when parole and Paulie 10 steps? Old fashioned.
We need to check these belts, brother.
Paul Pressy got the.
What do you do with the arm? Is it the Grammy roll? No, we need to check this jiu-jitsu. It make a jiu-jitsu look bad, brother.
Oh man, this is gonna look real bad in a week's time when Dustin Poirier is the lightweight champion.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Shout out to us. Hey. They're fighting tomorrow, yeah?
Yeah, in like 10 hours.
Yeah. That higher learning turn end to end burning. Sharpie steel, sharpened steel, flaming sword of Surtur.